We are going to be having a conversation on one of our sectors, and today it's all about the National Ambulance Service. So in studio with us we have Daniel Asare, who's the Greater Accra Regional Manager of the National Ambulance Service and Deputy Chief Advanced Emergency Medical Technologist. Hi sir, you're welcome.
Thank you, madam.
All right, so let's get straight into it. So my first question, it's going to be, what is the mandate of the National Ambulance Service? Can you explain that for us briefly?
Okay, so good morning to your cherished viewers. I bring you greetings from the National Ambulance Service, our board chairman, Nana Kote Straman II, and our able Chief Executive Officer, Dr. George Kojo, and the entire staff of the National Ambulance Service for the good work they are doing for the people of Ghana. So the National Ambulance Service, as enshrined in the Ambulance Service Act 2020, Act 1041, we are mandated to take care of pre-hospital emergencies that has happened outside the jurisdiction of the hospital, road traffic incident, domestic emergencies, all those ones we take care of them. And also we also do inter-hospital transfers, moving from a lower facility to other facility. We also do training, first aid training for institutions, churches and other things, and give them the needed basic first aid. So in case of emergency, before the ambulance arrives, they will be able to take care of the casualties. We also, in terms of mass casualty incident, when there's a fire, explosion, gas explosion, all those ones, we go there and take care of the casualties. So mass casualty incident, like what happened at Circle in 2012, 2015, and the Mekong disaster in 2012, or the Apieti incident, we were able to get there to take care of what? Of the casualties. And when we have mass gatherings, programs of where high magnitude, like during the stadium programs, we have football matches, we are there. When we have any international program like ECOWAS, AU, the ambulance service is there to take care of the medical issues that will arise. Or when we have the State of the Nation address, we are there. Independence Day celebrations, we do all this. So we are there to make sure that we provide effective administration in terms of pre-hospital emergency care, and also in terms of we coordinate inter-hospital transfers. So all the hospitals, either both private and public hospitals, when they want to refer cases, it's the National Ambulance Service that we take those casualties to them. We manage them to the hospital for further management.
So, like, how many ambulances do you actually have operating nationwide? Okay,
so as a service, I'll take it from here. We started with 7 ambulances in 2004, ambulance stations. So as at 2012, we were having a fleet of 160 ambulances. Then in 2020, we received 307 ambulances across. So we operate both at the national level, at the regional, and every constituency or district in Ghana. So this is the ambulance service we operate. So for the past 22 years, we have been serving the people of Ghana.
So how many do you have in the Greater Accra region?
So in Greater Accra, we have 42 ambulances operating. So when you look at the World Health Organization, an ambulance is supposed to serve a population of about 50,000. So in Accra, if you want to operate optimally to the highest level, we need over about 100 ambulances, looking at the population of about 5.2 million population in the Greater Accra, according to the Ghana Statistics.
So will you say that?
So we need more ambulances to be able to catch up because of the call volumes we normally receive in Greater Accra.
Like how many do you need?
I said we need about 100 ambulances.
In addition to the 42 you have?
No, we have 42. So if you get, let's say, 58.
Okay, you need 100 ambulances in total.
In total.
In the Greater Accra.
In the Greater Accra, because of the deficit. You know, we receive a lot of calls in Greater Accra especially.
But do you have some broken down?
Yeah, definitely. You know, since 2020 up to 2026, the vehicles are aging. So once they are aging, it means there's high maintenance costs. So definitely, we have some also at the workshop that the mechanics always work on it. But in as much as some of the vehicles are broken down, I know our able CEO, in consultation with the minister, is putting pragmatic steps in place to repair those ones, because we don't want a situation where, because the vehicles are broken, that we put them aside, awaiting the government of Ghana to buy new fleet. But we need to fix the broken ones whilst we we hope that there will be new fleets that will be given to the national ambulance
So
in the subsequent
talking
year.
about the broken ones, currently, how many are broken? Do you know?
Actually, I don't have the figure
Right.
of it, but we have some in the workshop that they are working
Out of
on
that
it.
40-something, right?
No, in Greater Accra.
Yeah,
Greater
out
Yeah,
of that
in
40-something.
Greater Accra, out of 42, 10 are at the workshop that they are working on it. Yeah,
So that means functioning is like 32 that are
32
functioning.
working currently. in
But
Greater
even
Accra.
in with these 32, do you have the needed equipment in all these
Yeah,
ambulances?
so what I would say is that ambulance service is well equipped. When you look at the ambulances, we have a lot of life-saving equipment in them. We have the cardiac monitor that we use to take the vital signs of the patient, like the blood pressure, the saturation, the temperature, the respiration. We have it. We have the automated external defibrillator. When somebody have a cardiac arrest, the machine that we use to resuscitate the patient. We also have the nebulizer in the ambulance in terms of asthma attack.
Right.
You can use to resuscitate the patient. We have airway agent like the back valve mask. We have intubation kits when you want to do endotracheal intubation. We have all those ones. We have immobilization devices that like the spine board, the cervical collar, all those ones. The ambulance also have the oxygen inside,
Right.
so that we used to take, and the suction unit and a defibrillator. So we have both the basic life support ambulance and the advanced life support ambulances.
But what is your average response time?
Okay, so in Greater Accra, our average response time is 15 minutes. But
15 minutes, you'll be there?
minutes, yes. So though there are challenges in terms of our response.
So what are some of these challenges?
So in terms of, one is as a result of traffic congestion in Greater Accra. Accra is looking at the cosmopolitan nature of Accra. You receive a call looking at the traffic like around Kaukudi, intersection, Dankwa, and all those places. Heavy traffic affects us. And also, another challenge that we face is the nature of the road. Sometimes the road is very small that
too
we
narrow.
cannot be able
Yeah.
to maneuver. When you go to other jurisdictions, they have a route dedicated for emergencies, so that where ambulance, fire service, police will use that one. But in our case, we are all using the same. Even the ones that being used by the Ayalolu bus, sometimes you can see some commercial drivers parking on those ones, which also affect our end. And apart from that too, some of the challenges is sometimes they don't some of the drivers don't want to allow us because they compete
Why?
with us. Some of them have the perception that the ambulance is that there's nobody
That
in the
probably there's
ambulance.
nobody
Good, I was
inside.
about to ask him
Yeah.
that.
You
Yeah.
might not be able to determine whether someone is in the ambulance, because when you hear the siren, there are two things: either we are going to pick the patient, or we are going
okay.
to, or we have the patient is in the ambulance and we are sending the patient to the hospital for further management. And the other issue that also affects us as our challenge is delayance at the hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah. So when per the protocols, if you want to refer a patient from a lower facility to the higher facility, the doctor in charge will call the receiving facility. Then they will assure them that, oh, there's bed, so we will come. But sometimes you get to the hospital, it will take you a longer time before the patient is received. And
Why?
when it happens like that, we will not be able to take care of other emergencies. In some instances, they have to take the trolley from the ambulance and take care of the patient.
Right.
So once they take care of the patient on the trolleys, because the ambulance is out of commission, so the ambulance service have put some pragmatic steps in place where we have spare trolleys, so that anytime our trolleys are taken from the ambulance, we can put those trolleys back so that we can still serve the people of Ghana. So, and also late referrals. Sometimes the cases are not referred on time. It's also a challenge to us. And difficulty in also locating incident scene is also another challenge that affects our response time.
So when you said difficulties, locating these places, is it because of the address system?
Yeah, so
People
some
don't
are
know
due
how
to the address systems and other things.
Right.
So this is something that also affects, and people not giving accurate locations to us in terms of emergencies.
But when you get to the facilities,
Yes.
what are some of the reasons they cite for the
late
delay?
delay. Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes at the emergency, they will tell us that the place is full. There's no space for us to.
I mean, they're in bed.
Yes, so
The no bed syndrome.
So the hospitals sometimes have dedicated lines that they give to us to call all the hospitals. So sometimes you call In some cases, they take the course. Sometimes we will be calling and they will not pick. But in the interest of the patient, you need to still proceed.
So if I may ask, because you are an emergency service, right? Obviously the ambulance is an emergency service. This line that you're calling the hospital, is it not supposed to be dedicated to just you?
They give us these dedicated lines for anytime we want to bring a patient.
And they still don't pick up?
I said in some instances.
Yes,
they
that's
take,
what those instances, they don't pick up still.
So when they don't pick, because of the critical nature of the case, we still proceed to the hospital. And sometimes when they see the nature of the patient, especially maternal emergencies, women in labor and other things, when they see the nature or road traffic accidents, sometimes they take. But in some instances, they will tell us that we didn't call and we came. So sometimes it becomes a back and forth with us.
All right, so when this happens, say you just go to the hospital and there's this issue of the no bed syndrome that we just, we are all still trying to grasp and talk about.
Definitely.
What happens next? Do you take the patients away?
So if the hospital informs us that they don't have bed, because in the hospital there's something, at the emergency ward there's something we call triaging. Triaging means you sort out your patient to determine the severity of the injury. So if a casualty, a patient comes to your facility, they do triaging to determine this patient is red, this patient is gold, this patient, depending on the severity. So once the patient is triaged, then they will determine that, this patient is red, head injury, so they need immediate attention. So if triage is not done, and when the ambulance arrives, you rather triage the ambulance without triaging the casualty. Because if the ambulance comes and so there's no bed, we should go. But when you come and assess the patient, you'll be able to determine that this patient needs urgent. So we have to even treat the patient on the trolley. So once they tell us that there are no space, sometimes we will say, we want to offer our trolley so that they will take care of. And some of them, they accept. Others too will tell you that we have to move to a different facility for further management. And in some instances too, patients without relatives, unknown patients, road traffic incident, you go and pick the person, no person to take care of. When you get to the facility, the first thing they will ask you to do is to do a folder for the patient.
A card.
Yeah, so
get a folder.
Sometimes we have to use our own monies to do folders for them to start treatment, because
for an unconscious patient.
Yeah, because the person doesn't have any relatives, because you have to do a folder so that they can begin treatment. You understand? So there's a systemic challenge that we need to strengthen our social welfare system, because if the incident is in the weekends, sometimes they are not available. So we have to use our own money to do folders, and sometimes when we do that and the patient survive, the relatives sometimes come and take care of it, and sometimes they call us and
do they pay you back?
Oh no, we show it's part of the work that you do. We need to be empathetic with the work. So once you have empathy and dedicated to us, our EMTs go through a lot. You asked about challenges. One of the challenges is sometimes odd hours, maybe from 12 o'clock, 1 a.m., when sometimes we go for emergencies in certain part of our country. Sometimes we are being attacked by armed robbers.
Ambulance.
Yes. About 3 years ago, one of our drivers, who from Somanya ambulance station, picked a patient from Akusi Government Hospital to Kofrode. On their way they got to Asisi. The ambulance was attacked. The driver was shot, and unfortunately,
lost his life.
He lost his life, and it was a very sad day for us. And so they go through a lot of post-traumatic stress disorders when they attend such cases. So we call on the Ghana Police Service to also tighten security for us in terms of, because we don't want the morale of the EMTs to go down, because we are there to save life, but not to lose lives, because we also have families. So we need absolute protection in terms of odd hours when we are taking care. Sometimes the ambulance they shoot us, and we have to move very faster. Sometimes they take our mobile phones and all those things. These are some of the challenges we go through. So sometimes the service put measures in place to get psychologists and psychiatrists so that they can take our men through as frontline emergency medical technicians.
Wow. This is just. Have you had an instance like we know of what happened with the 29-year-old man Charles, where you would have to move from one hospital to the other, and you'd be roaming and roaming. How often does that happen?
What I would say is, the minister has instituted a committee chaired by our revered Professor Ajumambedu Akosa to investigate the cause of the death of the late engineer Emisa. May his soul rest in perfect peace. So I will not be able to go into the substantive issue, but I can make general statements.
But I just want to ask how often you move around.
We do have those challenges. We do have those challenges because you go to certain facilities and they will tell you that there's no bed. So sometimes you can move 3 or 4. So these things sometimes happen. It do happen, and it gives us a very hectic day because per the golden rule in terms of trauma, and when there's an accident, within an hour, the casualty is supposed to get to the emergency ward for further management. So you cannot keep the patient in the ambulance or the casualty in the ambulance for a very long time. So even if you do all the interventions by controlling bleeding, by putting an IV and giving infusion and all those, there should be a time the person should be in the hospital
on the
for
bed,
the doctors to continue their work. So it do happen, but as I said, sometimes in the interest of the patient, we need to put our trolley. It's also a bed, so that you can take care of the casualty. But the instances where the hospital will tell us that they don't want to take the trolley, sometimes it becomes so difficult for us.
But is there a system put in place where that actually shows which hospital has beds available? Is there a way to know that, or do you think something like that should be implemented? Maybe you look at an app,
there are platforms with the hospitals, the regional, the Ghana Health Service, teaching hospitals. Platforms are like, but I think there should be automation for our bed system. But when you go to other jurisdictions, we had opportunity to travel to other jurisdictions. There's a system where when there's automation, so in colors, red, gold, green. So once this hospital have bed, there's a color coding that is given to it. Once the bed is given to somebody, it will indicate that at this point in time, this hospital A does not have a bed. So you are supposed to move to another hospital where there's bed. So if you're able to automate all these hospitals, it will be able to manage our bed system very, very effectively. And other places too, they have a very big room that when you go there, when cases come, they are able to even do 1 or 2 interventions, maybe using ambu bag before they even move the patient to the ward or to the other place for further management. So sometimes the emergency ward becomes very choked because some casualties take a longer time at that instances.
Have you had instances where some of the patients pass on in your ambulance?
Yeah, okay. So per the work that we do, sometimes it do happen. Sometimes, and one is due to sometimes referrals are not done early, because when the hospital call, they will tell them that we don't have, they should hold on. So by the time you go and pick the patient, the condition has been deteriorated. So you can move not too far distance, then the patient conditions becomes very worse. And no hospital will take brought in dead patient because they don't want to increase their mortality rate, you understand? So when this thing happens, sometimes you have to make sure you get a pathologist who assess the patient, because the doctor who will be able to clinically declare a patient dead. Though we have been trained to get certain obvious signs that shows that this patient is gone. The patient doesn't have a pulse, the patient is not breathing well, the patient have dilated pupils, the skin cold and clammy, the patient, those ones, but you cannot declare somebody dead. You have to get a certified doctor to do clinically declare. So we have 1 or 2 instances. But when it happens, we have a clinical audit team. We normally do mortality audits to know the interventions that we give to the patient. We also have a form we call the pre-hospital care form. So everything that we do on the patient, we record it on it, because The pre-hospital care form is for continuity of care and also for research purposes, and also when there are any medical legal issues, it also serves as a form of evidence to us. And we are being guided by protocols. Our personnel that work in the ambulance, everything that we do, we have our levels. We have the EMT level, the intermediate, the advanced, and the paramedics. So every personnel go according to the protocols that you don't go beyond. And in instances where you have challenge, you seek for medical directions. We have online medical and offline that you can call for assistance.
Right. Yeah. So, like in case of emergencies, who actually makes the final decision on, where to actually take the patient?
Okay, so the National Ambulance Service operates a system where we have dispatch centers across all the regions. We have 16 dispatch centers. So the call that comes does not go straight to the ambulance station. Unless instances where we have walk-in, where people go into the ambulance station and there's an emergency. Yeah. So the call is routed to the 112. That is how it goes straight to our dispatch center. And the dispatch center will then send the call to the nearest ambulance station, and we will proceed. So as we en route to the hospital, the dispatch center, who are also trained medically, they will be coordinating with with the hospitals. So they will be coordinating with and also coordinating with us. So there is that kind of joint interoperability between the EMTs in the ambulance and also the EMT dispatchers with the hospitals. So we coordinate that, this hospital doesn't have a bed, so we should move to other hospitals. They said, we should be on hold before the ambulance comes. So the decision is made when the dispatch center make contact with the hospitals before we move in.
Wow.
Yeah.
You spoke about prank calls.
Definitely.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so prank calls normally happens when you raise a false alarm. There's no emergency, but you are calling that somebody is lying somewhere, so the ambulance service should come in. In a month, we can get about 5,000 prank calls at the dispatch center.
Greater Accra?
Yes, where people will call and say that, I've eaten, I'm tired, come and pick me to the hospital. Some of you even call and check whether we have come on duty. So people just, the line is toll-free line. So when you call, there are no charges.
No, relax. The person says, I have eaten.
Yes.
I'm tired.
So come and pick me to the hospital. You understand? Some also want to call and see whether our system is really working. It's
actually working.
So it affects also our call. It also brings congestion in terms of...
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a service, there's a policy that we are not supposed to refuse any emergency.
True.
Anytime a call comes,
you gotta pick it up.
We are supposed to pick it because you don't know who needs your attention. So we don't refuse any. Yeah, just that sometimes the call volumes come on us, and sometimes you might call and all the ambulances are on emergencies. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So it do happen. So the prank calls really affect us. So anytime we get a credible platform like this, we want to advise the general public that they should only call where there's an emergency.
Very important.
We have made these issues to the Ghana Police Service and other, so that there's that kind of collaboration, so that we can bring these perpetrators to book.
But how are you able to tell whether this is an authentic call or this is a prank call?
Yeah, sometimes the number will call multiple times. They will call within some few minutes, they will call again. Within some few minutes, they will call again. You understand? Sometimes during school, when the students are on holidays, sometimes the kids just call and they just prank on the system. So the calls just come one number. You can see just one particular number calling us several times and giving us. So sometimes we have a book that we document all those calls inside. So the prank calls really affect us.
I like the fact that you say you document. So that means you can see the numbers that call.
Yes.
So why can't we report to the police? And
Yeah,
the police
so we don't have the
back?
mandate to enforce. So that's why I say we are liaising with the Ghana Police Service too. And the calls too that goes through the National Signal Bureau at the National. So that's the national security before it's routed to the ambulance service. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So now let's talk about the personnel and training. What sort of trainings do you actually get?
Okay, so with regards to the National Ambulance Service, we started the service without a training school, but currently we have a training school, the Paramedics and Emergency Care Training School at the Tanko in Kinkensu. on your way to Techima, where we train all the personnel that work in the National Ambulance Service. So we train them on different levels, the EMT basic, the advanced. So the EMT basic, you need a minimum qualification of SS. You go through 1 year training, intensive training, both at the training school and the ambulance and the hospital. Then for the advanced level, okay, we have intermediate and also the advanced. So you need a minimum qualification of first degree from a recognized university. Then you go through the advanced. So the basic level, you've been trained in bleeding control, immobilization, oxygen therapy, basic, and how to even transport patient. And at the advanced level, you go further where you do IV cannulation, airway management.
Yeah.
So you go for and how to administer certain basic emergency medication.
How long does it take?
That one you go for 2 years training. But when you get to the paramedics level, currently we train our paramedics in the US, North Dakota and Florida. That's where we train our paramedics. But they are not enough. As a service that started with 64 personnel, currently we have about 3,500 personnel. So we are using this platform to get more financial clearance, so that we can get more people recruited into the service, so that we can serve the people of Ghana. So it's very, very important. So we also do international training where we get people from North Dakota and the US. They come, University of Kansas. We do this kind of collaboration with them. And even our able CEO currently is in talks with GTEC, so that we can get accreditation for the training school, and also liaising with the ministry so that the Ambulance Service Council will also be formed to regularize in terms of our certification. So we do all those things.
So now you talked about, you know, the drivers being attacked, and when you were saying that, I was really shocked. I had goosebumps all over, and I was almost teary. So how do you actually get emotional and you know, psychological support,
counseling for them,
because these are very traumatic cases? As you were talking about the training, I was interested. I'm interested. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Maybe who knows? Tomorrow I would want to work in the ambulance. But then again, I'm here thinking, what if I get attacked? What if I see something traumatic? How would I manage it? So how
do you deal with them?
Okay, so even at the station, I will take you from there. We have something we call critical incident stress debriefing. So after every emergency that at the station level, we do what we call debriefing. We look at the pros and cons of the case, what we did best and what we couldn't, because some of the scenes can be traumatic. So we do that kind of debriefing so that it will bring a form of psychological relief. The personnel goes through a lot of post-traumatic stress disorders. So the welfare department of the service take key interest, where we liaise with the mental health authority and other hospitals where we can have psychologists and psychiatrists that normally take our personnel through that kind of therapy. Like the incident happened, the EMTs that attended the case, they have been taken through some psychological therapy, so that we'll be able to come back to our level to be able to work very well.
So do you give them a break? If you see that someone needs a break, do you give the person a break?
Per the recommendation from the experts, we are able to implement those ones.
Wow. Yeah. Do you have enough personnel?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that we need more personnel.
Like how many? People are home, they want employment. So
employment is done by the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
So it will depend on the government of the day. Yeah. And you know, the government, through a collaboration between YEA, Youth Employment Agency, and the National Ambulance Service, we were able to train 6,000 community medical first responders, where they will be working in the communities. So before the ambulance would arrive, they will be there to be able to do basic maneuvers like putting patient on recovery position, making sure a patent airway. So it is going to reduce our response time. So all this, they are working in all the districts in Ghana. So it's a form of a collaboration. So also the service in future want to using of motorbikes in terms of helping getting to incidents in order to reduce response time because of the traffic nature of the service.
But so that will be one person, right?
Pardon me?
That will be one person on the motorbike. So how will it
so
work?
the person will have some first aid kits on board. So you know, the motor will be able to get there before the ambulance would arrive. So these are some of the measures, the services. And we also having collaboration with some agencies to even training our personnel in air ambulance. You know, some emergencies, you need the helicopter to get there to take care of all those casualties. So with personnels, it will depend on the government of the day, but we need more personnel. And apart from that too, we use this platform to talk to donor partners and private institutions to also help complement the work of the government so that we can get more ambulances. Some private institution can donate an ambulance to churches, to the National Ambulance Service. So that because everybody needs the ambulance, it's very important. Everybody, you do church programs, ambulances goes there. We do programs, we do health walks, we follow, we do all those things. Yeah, even when we do ECOWAS programs and the presidents come, the ambulances follow the convoy. And sometimes when they go, they give feedback to the president. Ghana have a very robust emergency services, but we need improvement in terms of financing, in terms of fleet management. We need more ambulances so that we'll be able to meet the World Health Organization standard of 1 ambulance to 50,000. Then I also want to use this platform to let the public know that ambulances does not carry the dead. We carry the sick and the injured. The one that carry the dead is called the hearse. But sometimes
they call you,
people call us that, oh, somebody is dead, so we should come and pay. No, we carry those who are only alive. We don't carry the dead. Because if you use the ambulance to carry the dead, definitely there will be confusion. The public will lose trust in using the ambulance. And even during the COVID, we play a very critical role where most of the patients that were translocated to the quarantines, we used the ambulances. And they were dedicated ambulances that we were using. So government is doing its part, but we also need help. And we know that as time goes on, there will be, so the service need route tolling. We need more ambulances. Though we are.
You say more. Do you have a figure to it?
Oh, though I will not be able to give a specific figure, but I know if you get more, if you get because we are not the one buying the ambulance.
No, you were about mentioning a figure. If you get how many? Sometimes
so that's why I started only in Accra alone. We need about 100 ambulances.
Yes.
Okay.
But
So you need 58 more in addition.
So
to
I think they should just complete it to 68 because we have 10 in the workshop.
So Ghana also is due to budget constraint. The Ministry of Health have other agencies they are also taking care of. So maybe all the emphasis might not be able to come to the ambulance. So whatever the government will decide at the end of the day, it will be able to also help us. That's why I don't want to come specific. I'm just giving you only in Accra. So when you even look at the regions, so we might need a lot of ambulances.
How do you maintain these ambulances?
So we have workshops where we have trained mechanics who repair these ambulances. Yes, so when the ambulances are, so the one I spoke about, some of them go through routine maintenance. So out of the 10, some are going through routine maintenances. So some will take maybe a day or two, then it will come back. So the number can even go up daily. We do availability every day to look at the ambulances that are working and those that are not working.
So are there some fees and charges that if you pick up a sick or the injured, someone will have to pay? And is that also being used to maybe buy fuel or maintain these ambulances, or everything comes directly from the government? Okay,
so the National Ambulance Service, we are a subvented organization under the Ministry of Health. So when it comes to, we operate 2 services, the emergency services and non-emergency services. So when it comes to emergency services, we get fuel from the government of Ghana through National Petroleum Authority and GOR. So that if somebody is in labor, pediatric cases, road traffic incident, you cannot go and say somebody should give you some. So those ones, we pick those cases without taking anything from the patient. So for emergency care, but for example,
so you let that particular patient's relative or something buy fuel. Is that what?
No, I'm talking about emergency service. We get fuel from GOR.
Okay.
They give us, every ambulance station have a GOR card, the GOR card that we fuel the ambulance. But when it comes to, you are going to do a medical investigation, like you are going for a CT scan, X-ray, MRI. Sometimes you have to park the ambulance for 2-3 hours, 5, like you have chartered the ambulance. So that one, the service have put some measures in place. They are looking at those ones. We have to take some small charges to augment whatever the government is giving us. And also, now, sometimes we take patients from one region to the other, looking at the distances. So looking at the distance travel and the fuel per kilometer, you are able to the relatives have to support us with some food. But in instances where they say they don't have money, we are supposed to transport the patient because the service have a strategic stock of fuel. In cases where there's no fuel to fuel the ambulance, we are supposed to transport.
Okay, so talking about fuel, there's actually a message here from one of the viewers. This is from Wafakujo in Cantonment. Why do your ambulance drive on with their sirens on quiet roads even at 2 a.m.? And why do your men ask us to first buy fuel for the ambulances?
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a service, we also respect the road traffic regulations, the Act of 2012. We are supposed to, the fact that we are an ambulance, we also respect the road traffic regulations. So our drivers, we always tell them that the work is about safety, not about speed. So we have the acronym we normally use, COAT. Always, a driver has to concentrate. Your driver has to observe, the driver has to anticipate, and the driver has to tolerate. So the siren, when there are no traffic, maybe the time that you are talking, we normally advise them that they are not supposed to use the siren, because the siren also have effects on us. When we blare the siren, it can also affect our even hearing. So it's even sometimes become an occupational hazard to us. So we don't normally advise that when the road is clear, there's no, we don't use the siren. So we do a lot of training for our drivers in terms of when to use the siren, the kind of emergency you are supposed to use the siren, and when not to use the siren. So with regards to the fuel, and that's why I'm saying that I explained that it's not everywhere. During some inter-hospital transfers, moving from one hospital to the other way, and sometimes I just want to, there's a little bit of misconception. Some of the hospitals, on the bill of the patient, they will write an ambulance. Some normally happen in some hospitals. Then in the mind of the patient, they are paid for an ambulance. Then they will call the national ambulance and we will come and pick this patient for free, because sometimes it's the government. So some even take the money on behalf of the ambulance, which they don't even give it to us in some instances. But in the mind of the patient, they paid for national ambulance service. But our ambulances are painted red, gold, green with the GB plate. So we have private ambulances also operating. So sometimes some of the patients will not be able to distinguish between a national ambulance service and a private ambulance service. So we have the Mercedes-Benz and also the Toyota Hayes ambulance, which is the advanced life support.
Is the service free?
Yeah, so for when it comes to emergency services, we are, because emergency you cannot. You cannot. But instances where, because we don't want the situation where people will call and they will tell you that there's no fuel in the ambulance. So the service makes sure that always, for a very long time, have you heard an ambulance not having fuel? Because the government is supporting, is supporting us. You can, in Accra, there's no way an ambulance, you call an ambulance that they say there's no, it will never happen, because we always get fuel for emergencies. You understand? So we can never say previous in some year we're having challenge, but now through MPA and GO we get those kind of services. So we don't want the public to lose trust. When they need an ambulance, they should call us, because it's better to pick an ambulance than to pick a taxi. Taxi might be cheap, but the ambulance is a lifeline. The ambulance can save your life. We do a lot. You understand? We do a lot. We do a lot. In some instances, we even rescue a baby in the Achimota forest about 2-3 years ago. We were caught. We went there. The baby was wrapped in a polythene. We have to resuscitate the person. We send it to Achimota. The baby is still alive. When it happens to the Apieti incident, we were able to, with the help of the Ghana Armed Forces, even airlift some of the casualties. We were on board. The helicopter brought them to Air Force Base, sent some to UGMC and Kolab. So we do a lot when it comes to mass casualty incident. Ambulance service play a very critical role. The recent accident that happened at Insawam, we were there to take care of the casualties. So we need more ambulances, we need more personnel, we need more infrastructure at the office level too. So for our men to work in a very safe, conducive environment. So it's a shared responsibility. And when there's an emergency, it starts from the incident scene right to the hospital. So there shouldn't be a break. It's a continuum. You move from outside the hospital and go inside the hospital for further management.
Right.
Yeah.
So with everything that you've spoken about, what actually also caught my attention is the fact that you guys do a lot of things from your pocket and because you are empathetic. So would you
I'm talking about when it comes to the folder.
No.
Issues,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yes, I
when there's no relative.
Yeah, I understand that. It takes a lot of empathy to actually also be there for people. So would you say the same about the hospital? Do you think the hospital also has enough empathetic people?
Oh, definitely. We have some nurses, doctors who are also very empathetic. That one day I can say that. So we just have to work on maybe our attitude. That we have to also know that the pre-hospital system is part of the hospital system. So when we come, they should sometimes have patience. And so some doctors, very, very good. When we call them, they assist you in that regard. Because we don't want to create any uproar between the ambulance service
and the hospitals.
And the hospital, because the interest of the patient is very paramount. So when the incident happened, our CEO led the team from the ambulance service to Ridge Hospital to meet the medical director and also Kolebu about 3 days ago, so that we found out how we can coordinate effectively in terms of referring patients, whether they will be able to receive it for them. And we'll be going to police hospital and UGMC too. So that means very important. So we are taking so that those incidents will never happen again.
So that means you're promising us that there are reforms on the way.
Definitely. It was a very fruitful meeting, and we want, that is how it's supposed. We have to do a lot of diplomacy, negotiate well, so that at the end of the day, before they will say that there's no bed, certain powers will be given to certain heads of department before either a security man or somebody else will come and say. So the owners rely on what? The head of the institution. So we are waiting that by 5th of March, the recommendations will come out. And I know the Honorable Minister Akando has put a very good team in place. And the findings will going to improve on emergency services in Ghana in terms of training, in terms of continuous professional, in terms of building capacity, and also expanding the bed space and even getting more ambulances for the country. That's what I can say.
Interesting. So the services that you are rendering,
definitely.
Chris keeps asking that, is there any amount that has to be paid? So you say people take money and maybe it's not getting to your end and all that. Sometimes. Yes. So if an individual like myself and I need your service, am I supposed to put an amount of money on, say, on standby that I would have to pay maybe 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, or everything is totally free?
Yeah. So I just want to re-emphasize the point is, even when it comes to the fueling of the ambulance, even those supports that sometimes we get, it's only supporting the fuel. The medical consumables that are used in the ambulance is provided by the government. Yeah. The oxygen is free. You don't pay anything. But at the hospital, you pay for oxygen. Yeah. You pay for medical consumables. But all these things provided by the government. So instances, it's just a support that you give it to us. And in Accra, sometimes some relatives will say they don't have money, but we still go. So calling the ambulance, you don't have to have money before you call the ambulance. If you only call the ambulance when there's what? An emergency. Right. But if you are an organization is having a health walk, you go to a bridge side and you are requesting. That one is a special life service. So that one you have to support. We can't do it for free. But when it's an emergencies, that one we normally do. Or when you are going for medical investigation, where you are going to MRI, some of them will take a longer time. You put one ambulance there for 3-4 hours. And the patient is inside. Yeah. We are supposed to serve other people. So those ones that we have yes. But for someone in labor need an ambulance.
Or an
accident. Wow. Asthma, cardiac arrest. You cannot say somebody, because we have forward that we take care of all those patients.
So you don't need money before you call a number of messages. Chris, quickly before you come in, let me ask you this. We've seen some of these ambulances reports broken down in bushes and all that, left like that. Some of them, we've had issues that the ambulance was transporting goods instead of human being. And some have been, some individuals have been caught.
Definitely.
How do you deal with these things? And can you tell us some of these ambulances that maybe the media will report that they are being found in bushes and they are not being used for the purposes for which they were brought in?
Oh, the ambulances, if some of them have accident, so the operation department will put measures, move the ambulance from where the accident happened and bring it to the workshop. And definitely there will be a report on if the police has to come in to make sure that all this report and all the ambulances that we have are also insured. We have insured the ambulance because of the nature of the work that we do. So there's no any instances where we leave ambulances rotting in the bush. The ambulance will be towed to the workshop where we go through the police issues to get all the documentation and even for insurance purposes. Then also, when it comes to your question on
transporting,
yeah, it has really happened before where they brought patients to Accra and they were going back on the way Accra Kumasi, they saw some food items and yeah, so that issue happened and it was viral. Yeah, so the service took a keen interest that now ambulances are not even supposed to used to carry anything apart from what the patient. There's very strict directive from management that anytime you see anybody carrying ambulance apart from the patient, it means disciplinary measures will be taken against you. So we have learned from that. And since for a very long time that incident happened, we've not ever had such incident happening. But those taking contraband goods and those things, those ones are not the government ambulance. The ones that you heard in the news, the investigation proved that it was private ambulances. Yeah, so the ambulances, we have informed our personnel that we are not supposed to use to carry foodstuffs and all those things. But so now, before you even move medical consumables, we have trucks that normally go around and give the consumables to the people. So that's what I want to say on that.
Right. Before we let you go, we have a few questions where you can just answer quickly.
Definitely.
So this one is coming from Maxwell Ajiman in Kumasi. Do the National Ambulance actually move around to search for issues, or they wait in their offices for issues to come to their attention first? Okay, so
what I would say, you know, we have some of our stations that are strategically positioned, like when you look at the Accra Kumasi Road, from Insaum all the way to Jaso area, Konongo, we have ambulance stations across. In Accra here too, we have some at strategic locations. So some of the accidents that happen, some are walking where we really move in, like the second one, they just walking in to get there. And others too, we get it through our dispatch center where they call the emergency, then we respond as soon as possible.
Okay, so this one says, I am Yunus. How does one join the Ghana Ambulance Service?
So anytime the government is doing recruitment, it will be published in the Daily Graphic or the Ghanaian Times. Then you can easily apply to join the service. But you should be able to have the requisite qualification. So if you're a driver, you should have a driver's license of category C before you can drive the ambulance.
All right, so good morning. Please, I want to ask, why is it that some of the ambulance don't have patients in them, but they just make noise to escape traffic, especially Accra here? This is Kinsley from Kotoku. And also, when is their recruitment coming again? I'm sure you've talked about that already.
I take a divergent opinion on the patient. The one that is saying that, because you might think there's nobody in the ambulance, because if you are moving from maybe going to Amasaman side to go, you might not know. So it's sometimes there's a lot of misconception. But you give way to the ambulance because you might not determine whether somebody is in the ambulance or not. So give way to traffic. We even have megaphones in the ambulance. Sometimes we call give way, but
people
still
do not.
You cannot. Though the MTTD officers sometimes help us to pave way, but sometimes it's very hectic. Looking at the direction of the traffic.
Have some few messages?
Well, there are a lot of messages, but I guess we'll have to leave them for now. But I want to say thank you.
So what I would say is the ambulance, we do.
Maybe you can read more messages. You can read more messages. We need to really.
We do first aid training for institutions and also churches. We liaised with DVLA last year. We went to Lolo stations where we are giving the drivers basic first aid, so that in case of an emergency, when they have the first aid box in their car, they will be able to help before the ambulance, because the drivers are always everywhere. So we are intensifying that training. We went to basic schools, second cycle schools, and also we are hoping that the GES, I know they have first aid in their curriculum, but if first aid can be taught from the basic school out right to the university level, if it can be a policy, so that everybody will have that kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
So if there's an emergency before the ambulance, you can do
the CPR.
CPR. You can put someone on record. You can open an airway, and it also help us. It's very because it's done in other jurisdictions. It's very important. So these are some of the things that we want to say about the ambulance.
All right.
service.
So my producers have given me the chance to do one question, but this
let's do two.
Okay. All right. So this question actually has different strings. So it says this person sent so many. How does the emergency call system 193 work from call to arrival? That's one question.
Okay.
What is the average response time in urban versus rural area?
Okay.
What types of emergencies do you respond to most frequently? And how do you prioritize multiple emergency calls at the same time? And lastly, what happens if no ambulance is available in district? Which one do you want to start with first?
Okay, so the question on
response time?
The response time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
urban versus rural.
Yeah, so internationally the response time is within 10 minutes when there's an emergency. That is the international time. But in Greater Accra, we are doing on average of 15 minutes when there's an emergency. We want to improve on because sometimes when you are able to get more fleets, you'll be able to respond quickly. And so we need more ambulances so that we can Then on nationally, we are doing around 22.
That's the rural areas.
That's the national average, around 22. But we want to improve. That's why the service want to inculcate this motor riders in it, helping to reduce the response time.
Right.
Yeah.
So what type of emergencies do you respond to most frequently?
Okay, so depending on certain regions, when you get to certain regions, most of the cases will be maternal emergencies, women in labor and other places too in Ghana is road traffic incident. In Accra, we do a lot of inter-hospital transfer, medical cases, people who have heart attack, asthma attack. Some too are having road traffic incident, deep laceration, fractures, head injuries. So we move them from a lower facility to a higher facility. So depending on the region and the kind of incidents that those who are always on the highways normally respond to road traffic incidents more as compared to those who are not on the highways. Yeah, sometimes we bring cases all the way from even sometimes we even get drowning cases during holidays at the beaches. We respond to those cases.
Drowning?
Yes.
Wow.
People go and enjoy at the
doing
beaches.
a lot.
So the ambulance service, we need to tell our story. We also want to thank you for giving us this platform. So that but in some instance we will come to your studio so that we can do some form of demonstration.
I was going to say that
on CPR.
I think we need CPR.
So that we
and
can
the airwaves thing and people who
seizures.
Seizures because people treat them anyhow. They put things in their mouth.
Definitely.
You're not supposed to do that, basically.
So I just want to say that we have other numbers if you can.
Yes.
So apart from the 112, you can also call 0558 20 1496. 0558201496, 0302 690722, 0291 813236. So when you are having
you go through the numbers
again. 0558 20 1496, 0302 690722, 0291 813236. So
why don't you have simple numbers?
No, our number is the 112.
112.
You mentioned about the 193.
Yeah, it's a 193.
Previously, the police used 191, ambulance 193, and fire 192. But all these numbers have been synchronized into one. That's why we have the 112. So the easiest number is the 112. But in cases where you call the 112 and you don't get access, you can call
these numbers.
Yes. So this is for Accra. We have all the regions have their dispatch numbers across the.
And I'm sure you have a social media platform where people.
So we have our Facebook. We are on Twitter. That is X. We are on Instagram and all. So now our public relations department, headed by Mr. Simon Kirura, they are doing a very great job. That everything that happened in the service,
you need to
put it. So we are having a lot of followers, and we need more too, so that they will know whatever we do as a service.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daniel Asare. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking to Daniel Asare, who's the Greater Accra Regional Manager for the National Ambulance Service and Deputy Chief Advanced Emergency Medical Technologist. And this has been a focus on the National Ambulance Service. And it was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I hope you saved the numbers to call in case of any emergency. And like he said, you know, patronize the ambulance service. It's actually better to patronize the ambulance service than just putting patients in taxis, because it will do you better to actually patronize the ambulance service. Thank you so much.